President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
It's only ABC. Well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet.
Well, as you can see in that video, critics are piling on President Donald Trump following news that the country of Qatar might brazenly bribe him with a flying palace. Now, here are the terms of this alleged deal that could be made between the Qatari royals and the Trump administration, which is of course seeking a brand new plane for Air Force One. So this luxury 747 style jumbo jet owned by the Qatari royal family would be used as Air Force One while Trump is in office. It costs $400 million and has been referred to as a flying palace, and I would never expect anything less for the Qatari royals, of course. Now, Trump would use it after the plane is retrofitted by a US defense contractor, which would of course make it, I guess, the right type of plane for Air Force One. Obviously, it has to have security features and everything to protect the president. And taxpayers would not be on the hook to pay for this because it would be gifted by the Qataris to President Donald Trump. And it may be gifted to the Trump Presidential Library for Trump to use even after he leaves office. So I've got more details on this story in just a minute, but Cenk, this is brazen bribery, right?
Yeah, of course it is. So my first reaction to this story was, oh, Jesus Christ, man. This is so over the top. Because after he leaves office, they're giving it to the Trump Presidential Library. That so far just has a picture book in it. After his first term, he wrote a picture book. It was hilarious.
Is his library gonna be at Mar-a-Lago?
Probably, exactly. No, he's gonna keep that plane for the rest of his life.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody, like if you don't know that, come on guys,
yeah.
Right? So, but later I realized after the we'll talk about this in a second, but after the reaction I saw from Ben Shapiro and Free Press and Laura Loomer and Mark Levin, they were all super outraged by this piece of seeming bribery. And I was like, you guys are outraged by seeming bribery. I don't remember you being outraged when Miriam Adelson gave Trump $337 million and her late husband Sheldon.
That bribery is okay because
that bribery is totally fine.
It helps Israel, yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. But they're not just a little upset like, oh, hey, Denmark happened to bribe Trump. So, and let me do a mea culpa here. I thought maybe Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Israel and UAE were all on the same team and they wanted Trump to attack Iran. But now based on Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin's reaction, it's super obvious they are not on the same team, okay? And that they are worried that Trump is gonna start listening to these Gulf countries more than Israel because he's being out-bribed.
Yep.
And so all of a sudden they found out there was gambling in this establishment, right? And so they're like, golly gee, bribery? And it's not from Israel? This is outrageous, outrageous. A US president serving a foreign government. I'm sure that's super new. Anyway, so that gave me a little silver lining to this story, but otherwise, still terrible, don't do it.
In this very narrow context, I will allow it. Enjoy your plane, Mr. President.
Okay, I won't allow it, but I will say this. What did I tell you guys? I said eventually other countries are going to figure out that they could also bribe our politicians.
What took them so long, Cenk?
Well, you know what? Trump is the reason they started. Because before it was really difficult. You have to find someone who's Qatari American and you have to funnel them money and they have to give it to the politicians.
Yeah.
And it's a whole giant hassle, right?
Trump's like, let's just do this out in the open.
Yeah, Trump's like.
When anyone challenges me, I'll just call them fake news and we'll move on. And that's exactly what's gonna happen, by the way.
Exactly, so now that Trump has opened the door to corruption from like, it doesn't have to be sophisticated. We could just do blunt instruments, right? Like he did a $2 billion deal the other day, Eric Trump did, right? For the Trump family, also in the Gulf, right?
Yes.
And then Jared Kushner got the $2 billion from the Saudis, and on it goes. They're just piling in billions of dollars. They're like, oh, Israel, are we doing bribery? We could do bribery. And guess what? The Gulf nations have more money than Israel. Okay, so now all of a sudden, I love to see the panic in Mark Levin's eyes. And he's,
oh, are you kidding
oh, I live for that. He's like, this is not acceptable. Israel has not sanctioned this. Oh, I love it, Mark. Cry more. Oh, okay. So
yeah,
look, our president should not be up for sale from whether it's Qatar or Israel or UAE.
But
it's
he
outrageous.
Is. But
he is.
Yeah.
And so they figured out what I was been saying on the show all along. I knew that some other country would do it, and they'd realize, oh, why don't we just buy the U.S. politicians for ourselves? Because almost all forms of bribery are illegal in America. So, well, they figured it out. You know what you should do to react back to this? You shouldn't be saying, oh, I can't believe Qatar's bribing him. Only Israel should be allowed to bribe. No, how about we end the bribery? Take money out of politics, and then if they actually take money for themselves and put it in their pocket, I know with Trump you can't because everybody will cry, right? But normally what you should do is arrest the son of a bitch doing the corruption, okay? Although now, since that he's defying Israel, maybe they will rearrest.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Like, and so look, obviously, ideally, I agree with you. If all corruption was rooted out and it wasn't allowed, that's one thing, and that's what I would prefer. But that's not the system we live under. And so far, in terms of foreign influence over our politicians, Israel has, basically had a field day, and they've had a lot more sway over, US foreign policy than any other foreign country. And so if this balances out Israel's influence, I find that fascinating, and we'll see how it goes. But for now, Qatar is saying like, we're talking, but the deal has not been finalized. In fact, Ali Al-Ansari, who is Qatar's media attaché to the United States, says that the matter isn't finalized and it's just under consideration. The possible transfer of an aircraft for temporary use as Air Force One is currently under consideration between Qatar's Ministry of Defense and the US Department of Defense, but the matter remains under review by the respective legal departments, and no decision has been made. Now, if you want to take a look at that sweet, sweet plane, here are the details.
This is the airplane, a 13-year-old Boeing 747-8, known as a Flying Palace. It was toured by Trump himself back in February. The aircraft is larger and significantly more luxurious than the current Air Force One, an older version of the 747 that has been in operation since 1990. The Qatari plane has 2 fully furnished floors, complete with plush carpet, leather couches, and 2 bedrooms. The plane's current value is estimated at $400 million, but it will need millions more worth of modifications to meet the Air Force requirements to operate as the presidential aircraft.
So I want to stay on that last point for a second, because while every report I've read and researched about this story indicates that US taxpayers will not foot the bill for this $400 million plane, well, the hundreds of millions of dollars to retrofit it, to make it flyable for the president, very likely will be paid for by American taxpayers. But Trump's argument here is, we're getting gifted a plane. So what are you guys complaining about? In fact, we do have one more video that I want to just go to. This is Trump defending Qatar's very obvious and brazen bribe.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
It's only ABC. Well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us. I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. There was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear of him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto: when they give you a putt, you say thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. Then they putt it and they miss it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that, Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say thank you very much.
What do you think, Cenk? Good argument. Good argument. Obviously, this is different from a golf match. Is it matches or games? I don't know. Whatever. Who cares?
So
a golf situation.
A golf situation. So guys, his argument might hold water if, first of all, under no circumstances, but if the US was actually keeping the plane, but the US isn't even keeping the plane. Trump is keeping the plane.
Yep.
That makes it so obvious and over the top, right? So number two is, I agree, and I thought something similar to one of our members on YouTube, Muffin Man, who wrote in, the jet's gonna have 1 million microphones in it.
Totally.
Like, I mean, they're gonna have to spend months trying to sweep that whole plane for microphones, right? So like, we can't take Air Force One from a foreign government. That's crazy. If Israel offered him Air Force One, I'd be like, no. Okay, and like when Israel was giving the beepers to Trump and Fetterman and whoever else,
yeah,
I was like, don't take the beepers, don't take the beepers. So I have the same principles no matter what the country is. So no, don't take the plane from Qatar, not even for the American government because of all this national security issues involved, etc. But certainly not if you're going to keep it.
But don't you have to strategically sacrifice your principles in a situation in which you're not going to get foreign corruption out of our political system right now? You're just not. So if there's a way to balance the influence of Israel with, other countries bribing the president.
Yeah, look, in the real world, I'm gonna stick with my principles.
Right.
In your hypothetical world.
It's not hypothetical, it's real.
No, I got you, but
Yeah.
like what's not real is we don't know the outcome, right?
That is true.
Okay,
yes.
so that's why I'm saying in a hypothetical world, if you said to me, forget Trump, Biden, Billy Bob, I don't care, right? Is gonna get 2 billion, 20 billion from Qatar or Peru, and we're going to stop funding the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians. We're going to withdraw money from Israel, and we're going to try to get them to a good place for Israel and Palestine. And we're going to get the two-state solution, and Palestine is going to be free and independent, and Israel is going to be a safe Jewish haven, etc. And that model result that we want, yeah, I'd pay 20 billion for that. Or I would let Billy Bob get 20 billion to make that happen, etc. But that's not the real world because none of that is guaranteed, right? Instead, what we have is corruption from both sides. And again, Ben Shapiro finds out today, did you know that Trump has a meme coin?
I know, it's
and
amazing.
He's like, it turns out you could just put money into that meme coin and then he'll do what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben, that's what we've been telling you for months now. And all these people, whether it's a meme coin or the Trump media company or just a direct deal with Trump organization, which does the real estate stuff, you could just give them money, and they have been. This guy gave $75 million into his media company, and he stopped an SEC investigation of him. Another guy gave 1.9 million, that was a campaign contribution, that was the cleanest one, and he got fraud charges dropped. I mean, this has been happening the whole time, but the minute it touches Israel's interest, Ben Shapiro found out about it. Oh, there's a meme coin, I didn't know that. Oh, all of a sudden we found out about the meme coin and the corruption.
Okay, so Shapiro has the same concern that Laura Loomer does. They're both staunch defenders and supporters of Israel. And so let's go to graphic 5 because this was a post by Laura Loomer in response to this news of the Qatari jet. It's going to be hard for the administration to designate the Muslim Brotherhood and obliterate Iranian proxies in Hamas and Hezbollah when Qatar funds the Muslim Brotherhood, harbors Hamas, and the US just accepted a $400 million jet from Qatar. It's very disappointing.
I remember when she wrote the same thing about the Adelsons. Oh, I'm getting a note that she did not write the same thing about the Adelsons.
Correct.
Interesting. Yeah, look, on the other hand, Senator Chuck Schumer said it's not just bribery, it's premium foreign influence with extra legroom, which I thought was more clever than Schumer normally does. So I'm good with Schumer objecting. Why? Because Schumer organized 7 or 8 Jewish senators to oppose the anti-Semitism task force of Donald Trump and said, hey, don't do that in our name, okay? All it's gonna do is drive up anti-Semitism and we don't want you taking all that money away from Harvard. So he's showing there that he's being an honest actor. And I don't give Chuck Schumer a lot of compliments, but he earned it on that one. So when he criticizes this, I think he's coming at it from the same place I am, which is, I don't like the bribery. Okay, I'm anti-bribery, right?
I don't know about that. I think
Okay,
you're misinterpreting what he's saying.
No, I'm giving him credit for doing the right things, right, earlier. And so then he has bought himself the credibility to criticize Trump on this in a way that I say, okay, then I think it's earnest.
He's been critical of the Israeli money?
No, but Chuck Schumer has said now on a couple of occasions that, look, Israel needs to stop with what's happening in Gaza. They need new leadership, et cetera. And that's why Trump has been calling him a Palestinian, right? So,
right, that's true.
So there are good folks who are objecting to this plane for very, very good reasons, right? And as we're telling you here, it's an obvious bribe, right? It's just that it has this one silver lining we didn't expect.
So we asked you guys in a poll, is this the worst case of corruption to come out of Trump's second term? Answers are very simple. You answer either yes or no. So I'm really curious to see how our audience feels about this. Is this the worst example of corruption in Trump's second term?
Yeah, so that's in the live chat. Make sure you check out the show live 6 to 8 p.m. Be part of our audience and be part of the show, right? So 63% said yes. I hear you, but remember, he also took $2 billion from the same government for his Trump organization. So that one might be actually 5 times worse. But anyway, but to be fair, they're using the $2 billion to build something. The amount of profit he'll get might be less than the $400 million. It's a complicated one. By the way, we're gonna do the story next, and make sure you're voting at tyt.com. That's our website. Do you think Trump will actually cut drug prices like he says he will? That's the question of the day. Every day on tyt.com, we have a question of the day, and that's what we're gonna tackle next. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.